Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ, Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Real quick, I know everyone hates hearing about Southern California weather. 87 degrees today.
Nuts.
No,
Speaking
we're not
of nuts,
recording
mine
this
was
in
my
late
old-
August. Early February.
Crazy.
Super Bowl week. 87 degrees in Southern California.
Crazy. I had
The end of
to.
May.
I actually played hooky from work today. I had to stick around and take care of my girlfriend after surgery, and man, I was like sitting down on the couch, and I'm like, man, it's shut up. He's like, he was telling me it was hot today too. He's like, yeah, it was really hot, but it was crazy hot today. I was on the couch, I'm like, man, it's freaking like 85 degrees outside. I looked and I'm like, it's 85 degrees outside.
I jumped in my pool, my not heated pool.
How'd that feel?
All winter. It's beautiful. Anyway, you ready for like the lamest transition that every radio host and play-by-play commentator does?
Sure. What do you got for us today?
You think it was hot outside? The news was even hotter.
Oh God.
Jay Glazer dropped a bomb. Is that how you put it? He kind of feels like it was like
Reluctantly, too. It didn't seem like he was ready to tell the story either.
It felt like there was, like someone was twisting a knife in him and saying, like, squeeze out whatever it is that you think you heard.
He didn't give up anything. He gave up exactly what he needed to and nothing else.
It was, we'll let you guys listen in and you guys tell us what you see and hear.
With the Raiders is done.
I do.
Okay. Before the draft?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Is there a landing spot that makes sense in your opinion?
A ton of them. I'm not going to say what it is yet because I'm going to try and help it out.
Sure. What kind of haul do you think realistically a Maxx Crosby gets in general?
He, probably more than Micah. So the day it happened, no less than 20 teams called me and asked, dude, is this real? Can we get him? What's it for? I'm like, God, we're not there yet, but yes, it's real.
Do you think his time with the Raiders is done because that's a Raiders decision or because that's a Maxx Crosby decision?
They didn't want to do it. But he was just like, I'm not going through another rebuild.
So there's about 87 metric tons to unpack here, Soto. Where would you like to begin? The idea that Maxx Crosby is no longer going to be with the Raiders via Fox Sports' Jay Glazer.
I think we should start with the last thing first. He doesn't want to go through another rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
That's the why he's not going to be there. I think is the most important thing.
Well, so chronologically, let's go through what happened here, right? So 2 games left in this season. I'm assuming this is what Glazer was talking about when he said it happened and then teams called me, et cetera, right? I'm assuming it's when Pete Carroll, Spytek and company said, all right, Max, you're hurt. We're trying to lose out. You need surgery anyway. Why are you playing these last 2 games? We're going to have you sit out. He stormed out. There was a big scene. Pete Carroll had a press conference about it. And then he's kind of haven't heard anything about him at the team since then. Like he's done his podcast. He's done a Sirius XM thing with Jim Gray. But that specific instance hadn't really been talked about since then. And so it doesn't seem like anything happened since then. It just seems like Jay Glazer on a show that's not his was asked about it. And then he looked like he was holding in a wet fart as he was trying to say like, yeah, I think he's done. Yep. There's a lot of places he can go and he doesn't want to rebuild. Like, it's just a very, like if Jay Glazer came out and had like a written tweet and said, sources say Max wants out. It's a done deal. Ownership has said they're going to relinquish to his wants. Like that'd be a different story. Him kind of like, yeah, I think they're done. Yeah, a bunch of teams want him. You know, he doesn't.
It just seems like from what we can gather from the video. And if you want to go see the actual video, you can see his body language. It sounds like someone from the Raiders asked him not to say anything, but I think he's much closer to players. That he's a guy that gets info from players. Schefter's a guy that gets stuff from like agents and like the team. Glazer's the players guy, right? And I think he's gonna lean, if anything's kind of teetering on the edge, which is like you're on Yahoo Sports Daily, right? And they ask you a question. Okay, should I say something? Should I not say something? I think I should say something because if I do, it's better for Max if that's what he really wants to do, right? Mm-hmm. And it just seems like the way everything came out was matter of fact. Like this is something that everybody in the know knows, and that's mostly everybody in the NFL. That's why a lot of people like the fuckface Florio and all those dudes were saying, "Oh, Max is leaving for sure," and this and that, blah blah blah. All the talking heads and stuff on ESPN are saying it. It's something that I think I was telling you guys earlier today in the text string. I'm at peace if we have to do it, right? It's like for me, it's like the whole, Chris Rock, O.J. Simpson thing, right? His old bit. I'm not saying you should have done it, but I understand. Like I'm not saying the Raiders should do it, but if they do, I understand.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. Like, I've made peace with whatever's happening. That's still not what I want. Like, I still fully like. I'm trying. 7 minutes in, I'm already negative Nancy again. I swear I don't try to, but it's 20 years of losing, guys. We can't bury our heads in the sand anymore. Players that come here usually don't play better here. It almost never happens, right? It's very, very rare that like a guy comes to the Raiders and he has like the best season because this is a great environment for him. And there's been nits and times here and there. Like there were a couple receivers when
Nelson Aguilar's ass,
right, like Aguilar and who's the receiver that went to the
Waller.
Jags? Yeah, Waller, the receiver went to the Jags. Am I blanking on his name? You got 27 million. Anyway, my point being like randomly some guys will flourish for a season or two, get paid and bounce, specifically receivers when Carr was at his peak. Like other than that, like how many dudes come to the Raiders and like revitalize their career, become new guys? Like it rarely happens. So that's why I keep saying the guys that can flourish here, despite all the anarchy, all the changes of coaches, all the poor roster decisions, all the bad drafts, like the guys that still flourish, you got to keep. Because they've proven that they are immune to what happens at the Raiders. Maxx Crosby, Brock Bowers, AJ Cole, Ashton Jeanty, like Josh Jacobs, right? Where did our run game go after Josh? It's the Raiders need to hold on to their good players more so than other teams, right? We're not the Eagles, we're not the Chiefs, we're not the Rams yet, right? We're gonna get there, but we're not right now. And so that's why it's like getting rid of Max is not like another franchise losing an all-pro defender. It's very, very rare for someone to be able to flourish here. So that's why, Soto, I'm like, of course I'm dreaming of 2 first-round picks and maybe another player. And okay, he's been hurt he hasn't been able to finish back-to-back seasons. He's going to be 30 soon. And those thoughts start going through your head, but you're like, He is a giant oak tree that grew in the desert. And like, what are the odds of getting someone else like that? It's just so low.
I'm trying my best to separate myself personally from this situation. It's hard for me because I love Maxx Crosby as a player. I love what he's brought to the Raiders as far as just his story and just how he works. And he's just he's an example, like a real life, like fairy tale that you can tell the players coming in. Like there's a guy out there, man. He's the best, one of the best players in his position ever, and for the Raiders. And he works harder than everybody. He's here before everybody. He lives a clean life. He's good to his wife and kids. He loves animals. Like, dude, all these things that you tell. It's like he's a real guy. But would you rather get more than a Micah Parsons haul, which was a legit starting defensive tackle and 2 first-round picks? So what is that? A 2 1s and a 2? Is that what's more? Would you consider that more? I would. 2 1s and even a 3. That I would consider that more, right? Even a 3rd round pick it's a very valuable pick. People are like sneezing at it, but I mean, do you want to get that, or would you rather wait and do what happened with Devontae Adams, where you spend a 1st and a 2nd for him, and then a few years later trade him for a 3rd round pick? So the diminishing returns on Maxx Crosby at this time are going to be very steep. So you have to be very careful that you don't get too close to that edge and you end up tipping over and get you sell for pennies on the dollar. Because right now, Jay Glazer is saying, I trust him. He says you can get Micah Parsons a deal plus. Now, again, Micah Parsons' deal was 2 first-round picks, 1 in 26, 1 in 27, and then a starting caliber across the NFL. Kenny Clark can start for damn near any team in the NFL. And that's what they got. So if we can get that, and you said it, these are not cleanups. These surgeries that Maxx Crosby's had, he damn near lost his leg 1 year, okay? He had 3 surgeries the last 3 seasons, and they weren't like, let me go ahead and just clean up this loose cartilage. It's like legit surgeries. He missed games the last 2 seasons because of injury, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to ask yourself, when is this tipping point going to happen? Because even Von Miller, who was a freaking stud, 17 sacks with the Rams or something like crazy, whatever he had, a bunch of sacks, the next season he was a situational pass rusher with the Bills. It happens. Mm-hmm. It happens like that. When you're that twitchy of an athlete, when you lose it, it's a lot. You don't just lose a little bit of it. You lose a lot of it. And I don't know, man. It makes sense if they were to do it. I just would be heartbroken. I would be happy for Max. I mean, I heard a team float around like the Rams because they have 2 first-round picks. They got one from the Falcons for a trade-up scenario last season. And so they have 2 first-round picks this year. So they could trade away one of them and still have a first-round pick this year and maybe kick the can down the road with the next first-round pick for next season, right? So they could trade away a first round and second round this year and still have a first round pick. It's not a terrible scenario. And it's a place where he's going to go to a defense with Raheem Morris, who's I'm sorry, not Raheem Morris, but with Chris Shula, who's a great defensive coordinator. Raheem Morris went with the Niners. But he's got an offense that's clicking with Sean McVay. He's going to be able to win a lot of games over there. I'm not saying I want him to leave. Again, I'm not saying that, but there's a possibility where the team who's right there, what did they need? What did the Rams need in the NFC Championship game? They scored a touchdown. They're within 3 points, right? Or 4 points. And then Seattle goes down the field in 4 plays and scores. It's like they need somebody to affect the quarterback. They just didn't have that on a consistent basis. And if you put Maxx Crosby on that defense, he's going to be that dude. So is it worth it for them to do it? Probably, if they can win again. If this is the type of team that would trade for Maxx Crosby and trade that much for Maxx Crosby, because they were the innovators of fuck them picks. Remember that? They were the innovators of that. That's how they won their first Super Bowl. Let's get Dominican Sue over here. Let's get Jalen Ramsey here. Let's get this guy. Let's get that. Forget these picks, man. Let's get Matthew Stafford. Forget these picks. We want to win now. If they're in that mode and Matthew Stafford's getting up there, how many more years is he going to be able to play? Let's start with the irons hot as now. Be damned to the future. Give up those picks now. Maxx Crosby's on a decent deal that we can absorb, not a problem. Let's go ahead and get him in here. And because Jared Verse, their other edge, is on a rookie deal still. Say that 10 times fast. You got Byron Young, the Byron Young that we should have drafted but didn't, God damn it. And you have,
it should be illegal to have 2 players of the same name in the same draft. It's
terrible,
because it's literally Soto. It's literally impossible to keep track of who's who. There's no way,
right? Like
the scouting team could possibly know the difference between 2.
But to wrap this all up, my freaking whole monologue here, because I'm trying to talk myself. Like you're seeing me work through it right now in real time. I'm trying to talk myself into it.
News broke this afternoon. We're recording this Wednesday night.
But look, I think it makes sense if you're able to get a 1 and a 2 this year from the Rams and a 1 next year, which is not going to cripple the Rams. They want to win right now because. What good does a 27 first-round pick do when Matthew Stafford's freaking back is falling apart and he's already 38, 39 years old, right? Like, you know, He's the same age as Klint Kubiak, same age as our head coach going to be, right? It makes sense.
It's so hard to gauge what he's going to get because, like Micah Parsons, right? Like I think Maxx Crosby's better than Micah Parsons. He's better against the run. He plays more downs. He's only 2 years older, so it's you're. It's not like it's a 24-year-old and a 30-year-old, right? Just 2 years. But I know the rest of the league likes Micah Parsons more. Like he gets more love, more attention. I think the rest of the league thinks Micah Parsons is better, more high-profile spot. When he was on the field for the Cowboys, their defensive DVOA was like 6th, and when he was off, it was like 31st. So like he's just had like this great performance, right? So I'm like, man, there's no way. And also, like you mentioned, we like to think that we help you guys understand how the media works because we've been working it for a while, been working it for 15 years. Like when someone says something, this is why. When something's leaks, there's a reason. Someone's benefiting, someone's pissed. Like there's a reason why all this stuff comes out, right? Jay Glazer is who players go to when they have a grievance, right? Now, I'm not saying Jay Glazer's lying. By zero means am I saying he like made this up or not at all. Not at all. But I think what he's doing for Maxx Crosby is Max, because he's a player, he's still a teammate, he's going to need the respect of his teammates and coaches, either with the Raiders, wherever he goes. He can't be out there whining and complaining and bitching. He's too smart for that. He's got more PR sense than that. So he's having Glazer do it for him. And again, I'm not saying Glazer isn't saying what Max is telling him. Certainly not the case. But when he says, when Glazer says, I think he can get what Micah Parsons got or more, well, that's obviously what Max wants out there, right? Max wants to be viewed that much, and Glazer's helping him out. So it's not like Glazer sat down with some graphs and some calculations and a TI-83 calculator and is like, all right, this is what Max is going to get. So I feel like that number is crazy. But then the Jets got 2 firsts for Sauce Gardner. So it's like all you need is one team. All you need is one team to say, yeah, 2 firsts and a second for Max, even though maybe the other 30 teams would not even come close. You just need one.
Look,
and then the case.
Let's take a look at it. Let's take it's not, these things don't happen in a vacuum, right? Let's take a look at it from a more broad perspective. At the time, Daniel Jones was healthy. At the time, the Colts were one of the favorites to go all the way because they were playing some of the best football out there. All they needed was help on the outside. And they went and got it. Because you know what? We don't get these chances very often. We're humming, right? We're cranking right now. I think they were 8-2 at the time. Their average margin of victory was something crazy like 17 points. You're welcome for that, by the way, Colts. And they were crushing teams. And they weren't making mistakes. The only chink in their armor was they needed another corner. So they went out and got the best one they could, one of the best in the league in Sauce Gardner. So they gave up 2 first rounds for that. You can say the exact same thing for the Rams. The thing that was holding the Rams back was being able to put pressure on Sam Darnold consistently. And in the big moments, you have an aging quarterback. You have a offensive line that's kind of in flux, who's going to have some guys that maybe age or price out. You have a young defense right now that is good in some spots and needs some coverage in others, and you just don't have enough money. You have so much money tied up. Puka's going to need a new contract in a couple seasons. You have to win now. Now is your time to win. And if you're the Rams, it makes sense. So again, if you take a look at it from that perspective, it would make sense for them to spend that type of capital on a player that's one of the top 5 positions in the league.
Yeah, like look at trades and trade values. Like you want to be able to come with like a basic currency. It's like this type of player with this type of background and this type of age is worth something like this. But exactly to your point, just like life, right? Like why do I pay $17 for a beer at a concert? It's because they got you by the nuts and you have no choice. When I can buy the same beer at the liquor store around the corner for
I don't have a freaking wooden hollow leg to freaking sneak some stuff in.
That's why you wear cowboy boots to concerts. The 350 milliliter flask, that plastic flask, fits perfectly.
Oh man, we went to that Willie Nelson concert at Hollywood Bowl. Mm-hmm. My ankle was killing me because it slid down a little too far. It was right on my bone.
Medicine to make the ankle feel better.
Oh God,
right there. It's the best feeling when you're like taking a swig of whiskey and you're like, oh, that would have been $13 here, but it was 17 cents because I snuck this bottle in. Sneak it. Cowboy boots, 350 milliliter plastic bottle. It's right in there. Take it anywhere. You're welcome. But yeah, so like that's the point, is like extenuating circumstances, timing. It's just like life, right? Like it's all kind of all over the place. Again, I keep going back to Glazer. I don't mean to, because we're trying to move this forward, but everything we say is still based on the weird circumstances of this report coming out. So if we don't get 2 firsts plus, don't do it. Players asked for trades every offseason, every season, every preseason, all the time. They rarely get them. Now they happen, and because it feels like it happens more often, because when it does happen, it's giant news, right? Micah Parsons, Josh Jacobs, like when players get moved, it's giant news. You often forget the other 10 guys over the course of that month that's like, oh, I want to trade, I'm out of here. And the GM says, no, let's work it out. And they work it out, right? So this isn't we have to offload Maxx Crosby to get something, or we're going to be stuck with nothing. No, if there's not a great offer out there, even if there is a great offer out there, I'm still not saying do it. But if there isn't a great offer out there, you say, nope, Max, you're playing with us this season. You're going to stay here and you're going to play. And 90% of the time that happens. All this report does is say, okay, we weren't going to move on for Max for anything less than 3 firsts. If he's really disgruntled and wants out, maybe we don't want that in the locker room. Let's drop it to 2 firsts and a second, or whatever the equation is. That to me is all this means, Soto. The Raiders aren't in a position where it's like, at least right now, as of February 4th, 2026, we have to move on from Max. It's just poison. It's just a mess. He's got us by the balls. Let's let him go for whatever we can.
Yeah, so I said this on my show. The first thing Klint Kubiak needs to do after he's announced is to find Maxx Crosby, get into a room and say, Max, I need you on this team. I need your leadership. I need your play. I need your example. I need the hustle and the vibe and everything that you bring, the example that you bring. I need everything that you bring. I need you on this team. Here's my plan, XYZ, all the way down, ABC, all the way down to XYZ. Are you on board? If you're not, we can figure it out, but I need you 100% in. I'm not guaranteeing you it's going to happen right away, but we're going to move in the right direction, and you're an integral part of it. If you want to be here, I would love to have you. I would want nothing more. If you don't, we'll figure it out. And that's that. And you have to sit Max down and not make him any wild promises like probably what happened last season because Pete's a great salesman. And I think he did believe what he was saying. I don't think he was selling him snake oil or anything like that. I think he did believe what he was selling Max. And I think Spytek believed what he was selling Max. But I don't know what's in the heart. I think he's almost like that jaded hot chick, Mm-hmm. She's had her heart broken one too many times. And once you're there, you're just kind of dead to the world. And maybe your affinity, your love, your loyalty to Raider Nation just is not there as like it was. Not that you don't love Raider Nation, not that you don't want to play for the Raiders, but the sting is gone if you were to put another jersey on, type of thing, right? And that's the first thing that Klint Kubiak needs to do is, you're my star guy. You're the guy. You're the biggest asset, the biggest cheap, the biggest black chip that I have, and I want you to be, on the team. And it's going to be up. I think a lot of it's going to be up to Maxx Crosby because I do think they're going to find a guy to give what they want.
Sorry, I'm laughing. It sounded like you said black chick for like 2 seconds. You're like, you're the biggest black chick I have, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Bro,
sorry to cut you off.
I do. I am not opposed to black chicks. I do like them.
Max, I have a lot of big black chicks, but you're the biggest black chick I have. I need you on this team.
Black chip, as in gambling, in like Vegas gambling.
$100 chip, black chip.
Yeah. Oh, the blacks are the 500. No, those are the lavenders.
Yeah, black.
But look,
black.
The thing that we have to focus on here is, like you said, it doesn't have to happen. Now, here's the problem, though. You do risk getting a disgruntled Maxx Crosby, who at this point right now isn't out there making a big stink, but you could only push people so far. And Maxx Crosby knows the last 3 seasons having major surgeries and missing time the last 2. He understands that he could only play the way he wants to play for so long. He doesn't want to be grinding his gears and not getting anywhere. So you run the risk of really screwing yourself over and maybe getting a second and a third or something like that for him in a year or two than to get what you can now. And look, it's true. You're better off getting rid of somebody a year soon than a year too late. Mm-hmm. And if it comes to that, like I said, I don't want it to happen, but I understand.
Yeah, this would not be a conversation we would ever have until this disgruntledness, right? 28 years old. Like, it's still like, that is the prime. Like, he's like, that's the physical prime for someone like this, right? Like, he's got probably 2 years of prime, and then a slow deterioration.
We don't even know. We don't even know if it's going to be slow. We don't know
for sure.
Because that's just his lower leg injury history. Like, dude, he could drop off next season. You don't know. You just don't. And when you're that twitchy, it's not a gradual drop off. It's like that, like done. Because your game is built off that twitchiness, as that jump off the line. If he doesn't have that, what does he have? That's how he gets on those tackles so fast. He beats them off the stance. Sure,
but this for sure wouldn't be a conversation if it weren't for the disgruntledness, right? Like, no one would be saying like, "Oh, time to move on from Maxx," right? So it's like, just for perspective, there's another angle here though that's really important that no one's talking about. Maxx Crosby, like you say, like, and I'm with you, Klint. That's gonna be one of your first call, like your number one. Like,
you leave the podium and you go to a room with Maxx.
I mean, you need to start thinking DC. You need to start thinking coaching staff. There's a lot of things you got to do. Maxx Crosby's way at the top of that list, right? Let him know we want you. Here's why we want you. Here's why you're good to stay here. Hey, I don't want to be a rebuild. It's like, hey, we have $100 million cap space. We're going to start loading up our offense. We're going to give you a defensive tackle next to you, so you're not triple teamed every play. Blah blah blah. Right? That needs to happen. Tom Brady needs to have that conversation. John Spytek needs to have that conversation. I'm not saying all these people do need to do this, but this is the problem. Maxx has the bat phone. He goes to Mark Davis, and Mark Davis listens. Mark goes to Maxx when he wants to know what's going on. That doesn't just stop. Mark Davis isn't the type of alpha corporate CEO that's going to say, "Hey, Maxx, I'm going hands off. This is Tom." I said it specifically. This is Tom Brady and John Spytek's deal. Of course, my door is always open. We love you. We want you to stay. But, these guys are handling things right now. That's not Mark Davis. Mark Davis is a star fucker. Mark Davis loves players too much. Mark Davis hired Antonio fucking Pierce because Maxx Crosby said, "If you don't, I'm out of here." So that's the other. This is a little curveball with this Soto, right? Like, you'd want to be able to think like, all right, the buck stops with Brady and Klint can get going. Maxx has been sidestepping all of that because Mark has been calling the shots up until 45 minutes ago. And Mark Davis is the kind of guy that says, like, I don't want to disappoint Maxx. Just give him what he wants. That's Mark Davis. That's the type of guy he is. He's not cutthroat. He wants to win. He does. He's paying like 4 coaches right now, and only 0 of them are on the roster currently, or on the team currently. But he loves the players too much.
It's really true, and it's always something that you're gonna have to really lean on the other leaders to really kind of put things into perspective for Mark Davis, because Mark Davis is like, he's like the soccer mom. Like, if you really want to sell stuff, you get the soccer moms. Like, those are the things, like, if you really want to like blow stuff up, you get the soccer moms because they have the disposable income and they're the ones that are like out there buying on trying to be cool and get on all the fads and stuff like that. They don't have to ask mom and dad for money or anything like that. Like that's he's the guy that can be easily directed. You have to keep him focused on what the actual game plan is. If it's not win now, if it's like, you know what, all these things are falling into place for us to be able to do things for the future, and it's going to pay dividends in the future. Maybe not right this second, and we have to be prepared for that. But you know, there was a study, like when I was in school getting my psychology degree, there's a study, and this guy, he brought in 5-year-olds, right? And he said, okay, I'm going to leave this candy on the table, and you can eat it if you want. But when I come back, it's still there, I will give you 2 pieces, right? And he met with, I think it was like 80% of them 5 years later at 10 years old. And then he met with them again 10 years after that at 20. The kids that left the candy there and got 2 were, I mean, to the person, way more successful in their point in life than the kids who were instant gratification. So it's built into Mark Davis to be that instant gratification guy. Can, like the Spyteks and the Bradys and the other guys around him, keep him focused on the big picture?
Mark Davis did that study.
He ate the rapper too.
He's just like, he ate it and just left before the other guy showed up. He's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like I went to go put the candy on the table and he just grabbed it out of his head and ate it.
So this is to me a still very big wait and see. Like the story blew up, but this is still a wait and see with how it came out, right? Glazer kind of begrudgingly saying this on a random show. Like, look, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show, but like I've worked with Glazer for years. When the UFC was at Fox, he was a desk host. He was like the guy that sat at the desk next to like Michael Bisping.
Why haven't I had him on the show then?
We could hit him up. But he would be the guy that like I was his writer researcher for UFC. And I would hear him on the phone. Like it would be Saturday and be like, you know, he's got the NFL halftime show on Fox the next day. And he'd be on the phone in between fights. And it was always, hey, bro, what do you need? What do you got? What's going on? What do you think of this? It was very, very like pure player. What message do you want out? And then what tidbit can you give me? Which is not unlike most of the other journalists, except it's normally like a GM and an agent. He was straight to the player, right? And so players would hit him up. Like we'd be in mid-show and fucking just random players would just call him with like grievances. And he would voice that for him. So with that being said, again, this is every single offseason we go through this. The Raiders are going to trade Maxx Crosby, okay? Every offseason we go through this. This is more smoke than I've ever seen, which leads to more chance of a fire, for sure. I will say this is the most we're going to trade Maxx smoke I've ever seen, but I am still treating it as just smoke as of now. Until Maxx crosses that line, because he does a ton of media. He has his podcast, he has that Jim Gray show on Sirius, and he hasn't talked about he wants a trade. He hasn't shit on this new regime. He hasn't even addressed him walking out yet. He's letting Glazer kind of like voice that for him. When he's willing to say, I'm willing to look like a complainer to get my point across because I'm not getting my point across strong enough, that's when I'll really, really worry. Not that it's still not possible the Raiders won't trade him, but I am still in the wait and see until something other than Glazer on someone else's show begrudgingly saying, yeah, I think he's gone and the Raiders are going to get a shit ton for him and it's all his call. Like Glazer played it out all. It's like, it's all Maxx Crosby's call. He has all the options. He has all the assets. He's the decider of what happens here. A lot of smoke. But I'm not willing to like put the stamp down and say, okay, what can we get for him? We got to go.
So here's my line of thinking. And I went through all that as I was watching it. And like you said, Glazer isn't the guy that depends on the teams to get his information. So he's not like Adam Schefter, who probably knows the same information that Jay Glazer does, but he was asked by the team, hey, do us a solid and don't report this, and you're going to be the first guy we tell about anything, right? So that's the reason why. And also, if you add that, so basically what I'm saying is Jay Glazer doesn't have to hold back the way other guys, the Jordan Schultz of the world, the Peliceros, all these guys, the Schefters, like those guys hold back because their main contacts are the agents and the teams, not the players. Jay Glazer doesn't have to worry about all that. So if he does let something go, he's not losing much, not being able to talk to, Spytek.
His balancing act is just not pissing off other players, right?
Correct.
Like it's like the GMs and the agents, Pellicero, whoever these guys got to be like, okay, I can't say, this agent has all the power. That's going to piss off the GM they're negotiating with,
Correct.
blah, blah, blah. Glazer is just, I got the player. Who gives a fuck what these other people say? It's other players.
Now, on top of that, you add on top of that how reluctant Glazer was to divulge the information. And when he did, he was kind of like teetering. He was kind of on the fence. He was doing right by Maxx Crosby by telling the truth, but also he wasn't elaborating and really kind of trying to blow it up to really hurt the Raiders' kind of prospects for trade in the future. And that more than anything, his reluctance to, because this he's the guy on Fox. He's like, yo, I got something great. Like he's ready to freaking say shit. The fact that he was towing that line is like, yeah, this is really, really real, but I can't bury the Raiders and their chances by saying how disgruntled Max actually is, because then it may hurt the return on investment, basically.
Story is still moving. We'll get to that. So that's how big of a story it is. We haven't had a chance to talk since the Raiders basically hired their new head coach. We've been talking about something else for 35 minutes. Raiders got their guy, Klint Kubiak. You've covered it extensively over at Raiders versus the World. You and I have texted about it a million times, but handshakes all around, high fives all around. I wouldn't say it's a 10 out of 10, but it's really goddamn good. There's a lot of ways we can go with this. I just want to say I'm more relieved than anything because it didn't seem like there was a good plan B at all. Like the Panthers DC or whoever the hell would come. Like if something like Kubiak was, they pushed all their chips in, waited until the week of the Super Bowl, and if they didn't get him, it would have been pretty rough. Like it would have been kind of, in my opinion, very, very bare cupboards moving forward. But they targeted him. We all like him. Certainly understand the hire, right? Young offensive mind with a rookie quarterback with a bunch of background and coach, player, father, coming from a great scheme on a successful offense. Like it checks a fuck ton of boxes, Soto. Happy smiles over here.
Yeah, he is this hiring cycle's Ben Johnson. He was what Ben Johnson was last year, plus, because he got to the Super Bowl, because of the turnaround that this offense made from a lot of the same players. You actually took away some weapons from 2 years ago in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and you get better. They averaged 28 points a game. We scored 28 points one time the entire year. And last season, we scored 28 points, I think, maybe twice. Maybe. I don't even think that. Maybe once. So this is our average. And he's the guy that everyone was looking for. Klint Kubiak is the next guy. We got the next guy. The thing that we were missing last season to land Ben Johnson, we have this year in the quarterback in Fernando Mendoza and the first overall pick. That's one of the things that I think really pushed a lot of the decisions late in the season, like the sitting of Maxx Crosby and the benching of, a bunch of other guys and putting a lot of rookies and young guys out there, guys on their first contracts, to play a lot more, because not only would it ensure them getting the pick that they wanted at number one, but it was a much bigger selling tool to the tippy top guys in the coaching cycle, which in this coaching cycle was Klint Kubiak.
I mean, just think about it for a minute. The last three head coaches the Raiders got was literally the only jobs offered to those three coaches. Josh McDaniels' agent somehow swindled Mark Davis into thinking he was this like head coaching phenom that all these other teams were like gunning for. Not the case. And Antonio Pierce, like he wasn't going to get hired anywhere else, right? Like we were on board with him going from interim to head coach, but he wasn't going to like, if he didn't get the head coaching job with the Raiders, he was going to go somewhere else and be a head coach. No way.
No.
Pete Carroll, he did like 2 or 3 interviews last coaching cycle, didn't do shit for 2 weeks. And then the Raiders are like, well, we need somebody. This guy can bring some stability. Let's get Pete Carroll. Like Raiders they've gotten just, if there's ever been a coach with options, Raiders never got him. Raiders never got a coach with options until now. So maybe you don't think maybe some people think Klint Kubiak's not the guy. There's some reason to think maybe he isn't. We're not guaranteeing he's going to find some success. Not a lot of head coaches find success here with the Raiders, whatever. But let's just acknowledge that something has changed in the Raiders organization, because a coach with options, that was a pretty hot commodity, right? With John Harbaugh coming, that I won't say he was maybe the number one for everybody, but he was up there for a lot of guys. He had a lot of options, including staying with potentially the Super Bowl winning team as OC. And he chose to go to a team that hasn't won a playoff game in over 20 years, the Raiders. Like that alone is a signal that things are changing, whether he succeeds or not. Like we have all the rest of his career to talk about how well or not well he's going to be as a head coach. But this is a turn. This is a sign. Things are turning. Things like what was the last time Soto it felt like everything went right? Like we lost when we needed to, got the number 1 overall pick. We got all this cap space. We got the coach we wanted. I'm just waiting for like the Christian Wilkins news to come back that he's just like, nope, yeah, the contract's void. There's another $25 million for you in cap. Like it just feels like everything's going our way the last like 6 weeks.
Everything's coming up, Millhouse. Look, every team out there, if Klint Kubiak told him that he wanted to coach their team, would have hired him. If they said, hey, you know what? I know this is a Zoom initial meeting, but you're the team I want to go with. Like, stick around. I'm giving you my word. I want to coach your team. Every team that needed a head coach would have hired him. So we got the belle of the ball. We got the captain of the cheerleading squad, the one that puts out, not the other one. That's the one we got. All right. So there's some things that come with that. And the thing is a lot of times I think that us in Raider Nation, we're not used to having nice things, right? Like you said, we're used to having, squinting at things, right? Well, this coach, maybe a second time around, it's not going to be that bad. Yeah. Well, this coach, he's maybe, he doesn't have a lot of experience, and but he's, the players like him. This coach is kind of old, but he's had success before, and we squint for players, we squint for coaches, we squint. We try to look at things from a different angle. We don't have to squint at this. We don't have to. He was the guy that everyone else would have hired, and we got him. So when you look at it from that perspective, there's a reason why that happened, and that's the number 1 overall pick. That's getting your hands on a Fernando Mendoza, because Kubiak's not going to quit after a year. I didn't win as many games as I thought I was going to win. I'm going to quit. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to stick it out. I think we should stick it out with him.
You think the Giants would have taken him over John Harbaugh?
Yeah, I think that they knew that they weren't in the position. I think that given what they had at the quarterback position, and they really like Jackson Dart and the guys coming in back, the neighbors and such, and the way the defensive line really shook out. I think they would have gone with Kubiak if he would have shown more interest, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not as confident as you, but I have no reason to think like you're wrong. Like that's the point is we got someone with a lot of options, which when was the last time that happened, right? Like I can't remember the last time Raiders won a coaching sweepstakes. Even when it was coaches that were like high paid and high profile, like John Gruden, it was like Mark Davis wanted Gruden back for 10 years and had been like begging him to come back. And if Gruden was going to come back, it was going to be with the Raiders. So this is a big deal just for that reason alone. And also because I like to think of myself as a fair and balanced individual, I would have run Tom Brady over the coals. I would have raked him right over the coals if we got another just whatever no option head coach. Because if as Tom Brady, if you're not going to be in the building all the time, if you're not going to be like an OC type role, if you're still going to be at, doing Fox every weekend and hardly going to even games, and you're kind of just sort of helping all the way from Miami where you live, if you can't, when you're now off the clock and you're no longer broadcasting and it's the most important thing the Raiders will do, if you can't help that process and be part of getting a new head coach, then what use are you to the Raiders? Great, you have 5% of the team, you'll be our mascots. Enjoy the booth seats, like whatever. But I have to say, I would have raked him over the coals if he didn't get someone good. And they did. Whether it was 90% because of Tom Brady, 5% because of Tom Brady, somewhere in the middle, whatever that number is, this is what we've been asking Tom Brady to do. Get behind the scenes, use your influence, and help us before the game gets to the field. Props. Thank you, Tom Brady. This is what we've been begging for from you. And he delivered. For the first time, he delivered something tangible.
Nobody is saying, Klint Kubiak, that's a bad hire. Nobody's saying
one
that.
person. Yeah.
Nobody's saying it's a bad hire. I'm not saying that that's a guarantee it's going to be a great hire. I'm not saying that. But you can't fault the Raiders for hiring Klint Kubiak because it's been applauded unanimously throughout the league. Anyone who covers NFL by fans, everyone's like, dude, this dude, yeah, that's the top guy. And Tom Brady was part of it to make it happen. And I wouldn't diminish Mark Davis's role either. You saw the picture of Mark Davis and Klint Kubiak at the hotel bar having drinks, right? You saw that?
No, here I'll tell you. I'll tell you. This is the role he won't. How many commas? How many zeros? Yeah, no, don't diminish that because don't diminish that. How many team owners don't give a shit, right? How many team owners aren't gonna I'm not gonna pay that much. Why would I pay that much? No way. It's my money. Don't diminish Mark Davis fucking not giving a shit, writing those checks.
There's a difference between being frugal and being cheap.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm cheap.
If you're cheap, you just won't spend money on anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you're frugal, you're very measured on what you spend. Mark Davis will spend the money if you convince him that it's worth it. Now, just so happens that he's easily convinced. But he's not going to just throw good money over after bad, right? Mm. But you're telling Mark Davis, this is the dude. This is the guy. These are the reasons why we need to get this guy. This is the situation. Everything's lining up. All the planets are lining up for us for this situation to happen and really help. These are the things, these are the steps we need to take. You got a lot of guys in business who are very, very successful. A lot of guys with deep pockets who can put out some decent amount of capital, like liquid cash, like putting it into account money, not just
nothing.
It's nothing.
These guys, fund managers,
the guys that are like the minority owners of the Raiders, can have access to all of this money. That Mark Davis can liquidate peripheral parts of the team, like anything, and get actual cash to put in accounts. And that's one of the positives of having guys with such deep pockets that are part owners. You have access to that type of money. So it's a situation where, yes, Tom Brady was able to come through whatever role that he played. You can't diminish the fact that he did play a role in this happening.
So with Klint, I think we know what he's. Oh, you want to know the best part about Klint Kubiak? He's too young to have his sons put in coaching roles. You don't have to worry about some random Kubiak boy being the run game coordinator.
Jeez.
They're too young. If there's any other Kubiaks on the team, it's going to be like brothers and uncles and guys with experience.
Good Lord, I hope not. Can we just not do that again? That would be great.
What is he, 38? He's 38, right? Just
38 years old, yeah.
38.
38 years young, baby.
He's wildly private. Like, if you, when this last like week and a half or so, when it looked like Klint Kubiak's gonna be the guy, like I've looked up every story on him, every interview he's done.
Not a ton
Like,
out there.
There's and all the stories on him are like, this guy's football mind is great, and there's nothing else we know about him. Like, I don't know how many kids he had. I'm assuming he didn't have any kids at like 12 years old, or did he have like a 26-year-old son that could like force him to have a player on the team? Because I don't know how many kids he has. I don't know what kind of bait he uses when he fishes. I don't know what hobbies he has. I don't know shit about him. He's like just like you can tell he's like a coach's son guy who was in the spotlight forever and is like, I'm not going to play that
He's
game.
used to it.
I don't want the spotlight.
He's used to the travel. He's used to bouncing around. He's used to the NFL life. He's used to how this all works.
That's why I do like how this is his 5th team in 5 years. Because remember, like the big thing I want was a coach that's going to be able to handle working out of the shit for a while, like knowing how to cure dysfunction. Klint doesn't have he didn't like. I know you hate the Flores example, but like he didn't like go to like head coach of a franchise and turn it around that was trying to implode. But he found some success with like New Orleans and like some not great franchises, but then also went to really capable franchises under really smart guys and learned from them. So it's not as much like evidence of him being able to overcome rough situations, but it's a nice balance of you've been in great spots and you know what success looks like. And you've been in some couple kind of shitty spots, and you've still managed to find success there. So it's like a, because there's a lot of people talking about like, oh, I don't know, he moved around a lot for 5 years, like 5 teams and 5. Like, he's not going to move around as head coach. Like, he's not going to. There's no lateral move. He's either going to get fired or stay. Like, you don't have any worry about someone scooping him up. Like, he's there. Like, you want a guy that's kind of seen and done everything, not someone that like was like 15 years with like the Packers and only knows one way. Like, this guy's well traveled. Like, it's like military kids where like they spent their entire childhood hopping from base to base to base to base to base. Like, do you think they have trouble finding friends? Like, you think they're intimidated by a new address? Come on.
I remember I was living in Norwalk at the time, and this kid comes up to me. I remember that to this day because it was like, it wasn't like the way kids met each other. Like, normally when I met my new best friend is because we just fist fought each other at recess. We're like, hey, what's up? Bye, bye, bye. He's like, all right, you're cool. He walked up. He's like, hi, I'm Scotty. All right. He's like, yeah, I'm new here. What's your name? I'm like, okay.
And you kick him in the nuts and walk away.
Nah, he was a cool guy. You're used to, like I was saying, you're used to this whole thing happening. You're used to having to replace players, used to having to replace coaches because he lived through it with his dad.
Install a system, just like in simple things, like I don't know who my secretary is. I got to make it work. Like, just having done that many times is not a small. It's not. It's not top 10 things I like most about Klint, but it's not nothing either at the same time.
Definitely a lot of positives.
We're gonna do some what up Windbags.
Yeah, man, let's get it, dude.
Raider Nation 2023. Aqib Talib says Fernando Mendoza's back shoulder passes are impossible to defend. I am sold. That was his most impressive stuff. The first 2 playoff games was like receivers would be completely covered. But because his timing was so good and he read like that it was like bump and run, he'd just be like, oh, he's completely covered. Outside shoulder, the cornerback isn't going to turn in time. Receiver caught the ball. That was his entire playoff run. Now, Miami did show that you can defend his back shoulder throw a little bit because they're studs, but I think that's the best symbolism of what he can do. Not like I love the toughness, right? That quarterback draw 8 yards for a touchdown. The way he like asked for pictures and names of all of his future teammates so he can know their names before he came there. His deep ball's beautiful. His command at the line of scrimmage, all that shit. But it's the timing precision that feels the most NFL-ish to me. Timing and precision.
It's two of the things that Klint Kubiak said he's been looking for. He had an interview with Deuce McAllister when he was with the Saints, and he said, I want a guy that played a lot of college ball, a guy that's won a lot of games. Is he a winner? That means it's not a small thing. He has to fight through adversity to win games, especially if you're a big program. Timing,
He did a
accuracy.
shitload of that at Cal. Right?
Yeah.
Cal, like, he had to play hero ball, right? Like, people were like, oh, Indiana had a stud team. It's like, yeah.
Whatever games they won at Cal was because of him.
That was him.
Yeah. And he said timing, accuracy, and touch. And Fernando Mendoza has all that. He didn't say rocket arm. He didn't say 4.4 speed. He didn't say any of that stuff. Because if that was the case, Joe Milton would be a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not. He can't even sniff the field. So what we're looking at here is, especially with this back shoulder throw, it's a timing thing. He knows exactly where to throw it if something else isn't open. I know what coverage I have over here. I have 1, 2. Okay, now I got to throw it. And I know exactly where to throw it. I don't even really have to look. I know exactly where to go, exactly where to put it. And he puts that back shoulder throw where it's very difficult to defend. He doesn't put it a little bit too far sometimes. No, his accuracy and his placement is really good.
That should be the meat and potatoes of an NFL quarterback. Break glass in case of emergency if you need him to do a quarterback draw, if you need him to do a boot, if you need him to scramble and throw a bomb, right? Like, you want your quarterback to be able to do that when absolutely necessary, but the bread and butter is exactly what an offensive quarterback should be. Just timing, accuracy, precision, and then break glass in case of emergency. That's how you play 18 years in the NFL.
That's how Sam Darnold's playing now.
Great point. True Raider 2020 or True Raider 22. Fuck it. Soto for head coach, RJ for OC, Leckler for special teams, Rob Ryan DC. Let's get another Chicano in the Hall of Fame. Get you in the Hall of Fame, Soto? Another Chicano Raider head coach, Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
If you could have any job at the Raiders, what would it be? I wouldn't want to be head coach.
I wouldn't want to be head coach.
Those are 90-hour work weeks. No thank you.
I would want to do what I'm doing now, but for the Raiders.
Mm.
I definitely want to do that. I want to have access to players. I want to have access to, like, it would be similar to like what JT the Brick does, but I don't want to do the radio thing. I just want to do my own thing and not have to be beholden to anybody doing a radio spot. I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing.
I'd work under Deuce Gruden and just get jacked as shit, hang out with players in the weight room.
You couldn't freaking handle the heat, son.
Oh, dude, I'm like, hey, Deuce, put me on your regiment. What you're doing, put me on it. I don't care what it is.
Deuce protein shit's bigger than you, dude.
No, I'm bigger than Deuce Gruden. Structurally, he is just obviously the world bench press champion of his weight class and just like a bodybuilder of all bodybuilders. Because I just want to be in the weight room with the guys and then on the field. I don't want to have to be like, you're more studious than me. You want to
you actually have to do stuff as a strength and conditioning coach. You know that, right?
Not if you're under Deuce. Hey guys, here's the workouts for today. You need a spot. You need to rub out that calf. I'm like assistant to the strength and conditioning coach. Pretty low in the totem pole.
Not
I'm
the
assistant to the regional manager.
Gotcha.
Is the role I would want. I don't want to have to work hard. I'm at the Raiders. I want to party, dude. I'll be poor. Just let me be with the Raiders. Last one. Shout out to Art from Absolute Airflow. He, our buddy Rory, who's like the third amigo that was completely forgotten about. We're in a Raider hat today. Plumber came over. Said, "Oh, are you a Raider fan?" He's like, "Yeah, like of course I'm wearing the hat." "Are you a real Raider fan?" He's like, "Yeah." So he helped him out. Props to that. Raider Nation taking care of each other. There should be more of that.
That's my go-to, my go-to line. I went to a couple of weekends ago. I went to visit my brother because my family was going to meet up. My brother lives in San Diego. My sister lives in Arizona, and so my niece is my sister's daughter. So we all met up to exchange. It was like, I think 19th or something of January to exchange Christmas stuff. And, everyone's all spread out, right, doing their own thing. And we ended up going to the San Diego Zoo, and I kept bumping into the same guy.
Take her to the zoo. Her retard's
Yeah,
leg to the
that's, that's exactly what I said.
Nice.
And
What movie's that from? Let us know in
that's
the
exactly what I said. I would say it to my sister every 5 minutes, and she was getting.
I
so
ruined
much.
your story. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
Hey, Rocky, remember what I said? Okay, what'd you say? Take it to the zoo. Okay, so we're at the zoo, and it's like I keep. You walk around, you want to see everyone wants to see the same thing. You want to see want to feed the giraffe, you want to see the leopards, and you want to see the elephants, stuff like that, right? So you're walking around, and I keep seeing this guy with a Raider hat on. And finally, I said, okay, next time I see this dude, I saw him a couple times. See this guy again, I want to walk up to him. And my go-to line is always, hey man, are you a real Raider fan? And of course they're gonna be like, fuck yeah, man, what the hell? They're gonna want to try to fight you. And that's my icebreaker.
Thank you, Art. I know you're listening to the show. Appreciate you taking care of our boy Rory.
Thanks, Art. Appreciate you, man.
All right, guys.
Absolute Airflow. If you're in Southern California and you need somebody to help you out, Absolute Airflow, that's the spot.
That commercial gets me because it has the daughter do it. Now that I have a 6-year-old daughter, Absolute Airflow, Absolute Airflow. I'm like, okay, fine. That's too adorable to not give you my money. I'm such a pussy now. Fun show for the first time in a long time. We're just overwhelmingly positive because overwhelmingly positive things are the only things happening right now, which you wouldn't think after only winning 2 games or 3 games, I guess, in a football season. But things are, I almost don't want to say it, Soto. Like, I don't almost want to jinx it. Like, it's like talking to a pitcher during a no-hitter, but like so much is going right now.
Like I said, man, we're not used to having nice things in Raider Nation, but I think it's time we get used to it.
Lord knows we're due. We'll take it. Until the next nice thing. Knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, look at you making it to the end of our video. Congratulations. You can go ahead and click the next video, or if you're feeling wild, subscribe.